Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for your patience. I made my remarks earlier today relative to both the demonstration and protests that occurred during the presidential visit. My appreciation for the hard work, the leadership of our senior members of the organization, as well as rank and file. We're faced with some challenging circumstances. I'm grateful that there wasn't anyone injured. There was no arrest or use of force in response to members of an unruly crowd that ended up throwing objects at our officers, as well as passing or attending visitors. And then a group of cars that were captured, if you will, by the crowd because of a lane closure approaching that event. Our officers were able to move in that direction and disperse that crowd. And again, we're conducting an investigation into at least one of the vehicles that was vandalized during that action. Secondly, I spoke briefly about our receipt of the air support inspection or audit that was completed by the LA City Controller. We will take that audit and its recommendations and prepare a comprehensive report and report back in a written format back to the Board of Police Commissioners within the next 90 days. I am disappointed in the characterizations of a senior member of the Controller's office, asserting that the department had not acted in good faith and that we had somehow interfered with their ability to conduct that inspection. I reject that fully. I believe that our department has worked diligently to provide all available information, and it was unfortunate, and I'll just end it by saying I look for a better opportunity to work with this controller as he goes about his rightful responsibilities, but also in a manner that working with the department is one of mutual respect and responsiveness to each other's concerns. With that, lastly, there was a tragic set of circumstances that I reported on this past Friday when a community safety partnership officer, while driving a department patrol vehicle, struck and killed a pedestrian on Century Boulevard at about 5 o'clock at night on Friday. That individual is a 26-year-old male Hispanic, we believe experiencing homelessness. His identity is known to the Los Angeles Coroner's Office as well as ourselves. However, we are still pending notification of next of kin, so we're withholding his name. I, however, have looked at preliminary information regarding the circumstances of that collision and have serious concerns relative to the officer's conduct and the manner in which he operated that vehicle. A complaint investigation has been initiated. This officer has been assigned a home for administrative purposes as we conduct our investigation into her actions. Again, we mourn the loss of this individual. It is important as our officers move about the city that we conduct ourselves professionally, that we obey the rules of the road, and that we drive about in a manner that is considering the actions of pedestrians and motoring public, and to drive defensively and drive in a manner that can avoid these types of tragic circumstances. With that concludes my remarks. I'll be happy to take any questions.
Chief, can you address the need for the real-time crime centers?
I believe that, yes, so today is a presentation on the department's moving forward on the implementation of a real-time crime center in 3 of our 21 areas. And simply stated, it's taking advantage of modern technology today that has systems of camera systems and information gathering, and to put it in a local station at a watch commander's office that allows us to better communicate with officers in the field as to emerging or in progress crimes. We've done research. I'm proud of the work of Deputy Chief John McMahon and his team that has done research with other cities such as Detroit, Atlanta, New York, and seen how their use of modern systems working in partnership with business owners and others that are willing to provide access to their information in circumstances where a crime has occurred, that has resulted in the quick identification and arrest of individuals involved in both violent crime as well as property crime. And that it, at the same time, has also allowed those departments to reduce the instances of stopping individuals on reasonable suspicion because they match a description, but there's lacking enough information, so we end up stopping more people than we need to. What we found in those other cities is that by actually communicating with the officer actual photographs of the suspect or the offender's vehicle or their image of what their appearance is that the officers are in their efforts to be proactive and identify people who's responsible are able to do so much more quickly and without, again, subjecting other individuals to detentions and stops as they investigate whether they are or are not the involved person. So this is, in summary, a public-private partnership that I look forward to as we move into 2024, solely in communities that are desirous of such partnerships with the department. And we've identified 3 such communities that have business groups and retailers and members of community watches and neighborhood watches have said, we want to partner with you more effectively, so that rather than you coming back and surveying whether or not we have videos on our camera systems or evidence that we can provide you in the aftermath of a crime, that you can know more quickly at the time in which officers are actually responding to those crimes. So again, improve our effectiveness, improve the vigilance of our communities, identify the chronic and habitual offenders that are preying upon our communities in many parts of the city, and do so at the same time of protecting civil liberties of everyone involved. We see strong governance in this as to how this information is accessed, how this information is stored or not stored, meaning that it's owned by the organized retailer or by a homeowner, not by the department, and how it's used in any type of criminal prosecution. Go ahead, next question. Nothing else? Okay. Oh.
You know the topic better, so I'll let you ask the question. Eric?
Oh, I'm just curious, back to the DACA officers for a minute.
Sure.
Liz Rhodes said that the department is in a little bit of, I forget her exact analogy, uncharted territory, some breaking new ground, something along those lines.
Sure.
Beyond the gun issue, which seems like it's been resolved, are you at all, have there been discussions about potential constitutional issues, having people go into court who are making arrests and testifying who, yeah, they have the DACA status, but they're not legal U.S. residents? Like, does that create any kind of an issue that hasn't been anticipated yet?
Well, so what I found in these events is that many times you're not picking up the question that's being asked. So let me repeat what I'm hearing.
Just try to be loud.
Okay, you're trying to be loud. So I want to be responsive. Today we had a presentation on the policy that was adopted by the Commission unanimously that provides for DACA recipients as officers, as recruit officers and soon to be graduates. We have 1 graduating this Friday, 1 recruit, and we have 9 more that are in the academy and will graduate over the next 6 months. That establishes an actual specific policy about their ability to possess a department firearm and under what circumstances that can occur, both on and off duty for department purposes. And we believe that this is one of the first policies in the state of California. We know of other agencies that have hired and are employing DACA officers in the state of California. But what many agencies have asked us is, can share with us once your policy is adopted. And the reason for that is, this is an area of immigration law, immigration policies at the state and federal levels that people feel there's some ambiguity or maybe less than clear and crisp standards. And so we've worked very diligently with our city attorney. I want to thank Heidi Felsing-Soto, her Police General Counsel, for working with us. We've worked closely with the Department of Justice, both at the state and federal level, to express the fact that we're desirous of forming a model policy that we think meets this moment and meets the state of the law and provisions of immigration policy in the United States. Now, it doesn't come without some potential concern, because immigration law, including DACA, is subject to change. And as that could occur, 5, 10, 15 years from now or tomorrow, would that potentially jeopardize an officer who is here as a DACA recipient and their ability to be a police officer in the state of California or as a member of this organization? I believe that much like provisional licenses, which was more than 10 or 12 years ago hotly debated as to how could this occur, and allowing individuals who are not undocumented individuals creates public concern and potential dangers. What we found is quite the different. is that actually allowing the provisional licenses improve public safety and ensure that people acted responsibly. I think that DACA recipients, as members of this organization, as sworn members, that the laws will provide for them to testify in court, for them to present information and evidence before court, just as they can today as a member of our society. There is no citizen requirement to walk into a courtroom and provide testimony as to the actions involved in the matter before the court. So I don't mean to overly simplify this, but I mean to say that as a department, as a state of California, the law has provided for officers who are DACA recipients to be officers, then we ought to have a policy for it. And it ought to define the parameters and the four corners of that. And while we must always be concerned about unintended consequences or unforeseen circumstances, we've done, I believe, an absolute every due diligence to try to anticipate that, and we're ready to move forward. And if something else comes up that we need to challenge or take on head on, then we'll do so.
Chief, what could happen to some of those officers if they lose their legal status?
Well, again, this is a matter that I don't foresee them losing their status, but the matters of being a police officer in the city of Los Angeles, an LAPD officer has to be able to perform essential functions. And for instance, one of the things they have to be able to have is a driver's license. Another one is they'd have to be able to lawfully possess a firearm. And so if either one of those were to disappear, for instance, then they would lack the ability to do the essential functions, and they would be subject to losing their job, or losing their position as a police officer and potentially taking a different role as a civilian, as a member of the city family, even potentially the Los Angeles Police Department. But again, we don't anticipate that that's happening. What we see instead is a trend across the country going the other way, is that recognizing that DACA recipients otherwise are fully functional members of our society. They work and employed, they pay taxes, they act in other responsible ways, and this is an expansion or an allowance to take advantage of them. They serve in our military, they protect our homeland, and as such, this is an effort for them to be able to protect their homeland here.
Chief, the real-time crime center sounded kind of pricey. New York was
Yes.
$300 million, and where would that money come from?
Well, first of all, I don't anticipate, nor are we identifying a system that's going to cost $300 million for the state of Los Angeles. The funding for this has already been identified as part of the Organized Retail Theft Task Force. Those funds are going to allow us to establish these real-time crime centers with the technology that's needed and be able to staff those. We will grow incrementally. I believe that the utility of this, should it demonstrate its efficiencies and effectiveness, as I believe, then I think that's where shifting of funds and prioritization of this as an investment is appropriate. Technology today is a game changer in the sense of our ability over the evolution of policing to simplify tasks, to get better and more accurate information, more timely, and allow us to go out and be more effective. There is investments associated with it, but by no means am I suggesting a proposal of real-time crime centers that's going to cost tens or 20s or 30s, 40, $50 million. Nowhere near that. That was the description of the New York experience was it can get expensive depending on how many bells and whistles. What we're going to start with is we're going to start with 3 localized station-level integrations of what business owners and others will allow us access to that's tied to a dispatch center. So when officers are responding to a call, say of a restaurant or a business, that a crime is in progress, that they can gain immediate access to that information so they have a better chance of stopping that crime, protecting people from further harm, and also identifying and bringing to justice those responsible.
So no number you could throw out right now?
No, I can throw out that the $15.6 million that we have on the Real-Time Crime Center, the vast majority of it is going to provide for added staffing of people targeting organized retail theft, complemented by an additional 240 automated license plate readers that will go distributed in these major shopping corridors. And then the system of the Real-Time Crime Center is a much more smaller component. I believe it's $1.1 million, $1.2 million, that essentially puts together these 3 cells of the center and then starts doing a proof of concept that the integration of a software package there with these various information feeds can demonstrate what we've seen in other cities, which is an improvement in the officer's ability to both provide aid and assistance to those that are in the midst of a crime, but also apprehend those that are responsible and cut down on the instances of dragnets or people stopping anything that looks like a white Ford. We believe that these systems can provide more detailed information, and that can help us be more precise in our work in identifying those responsible. Anything else? Okay, thank you all.